All right, 99.9 Punk World Radio FM. You guys already know what time it is. And right here, we have a legendary vocalist. He is the frontman of the iconic California-based band called the Mad Caddies. We got the one and only, the amazing Chuck Robinson right here, live on the radio station airwaves. Chuck, how are you actually doing tonight, way out there in California?
I'm doing very well. I'm finally recovered from our European tour. We were over there for about a month just recently, and I had a week to rest when I got home. And yeah, it was a really great tour. But you know, when you're in your mid 40s, you don't recover as quick. And so, yeah, I got a lot of sleep this week, and I'm feeling much better. Thank you for asking.
I gotta say, I'm glad the tour went great, but obviously when it's UK and Mad Caddies together in the same sentence, it obviously is going to go great, because I do know one thing about the UK. They definitely love their Mad Caddies.
hmm Yeah, we played 12 different countries. We didn't actually make it to the UK, but on this trip, but we're gonna be there in May. But yeah, it was dance party every night. That's the plan, to make people happy. You know, forget about the bullshit for a few hours. You know.
But Chuck, I know you're a very busy individual, so of course I'm going to jump right into this. But I got to take you back to the year 1995. Well, you were actually attending Santa Valley Union High School. Yourself and other members formed the band Cracked Macaroni, now known to the world as Mad Caddies. Looking back on your high school days, what actually made yourself and the rest of the guys come together as one to form this now legendary band?
Well, I mean, we grew up here in the San Ynez Valley here in the Central Coast of California, and as a young person, there's not much to do apart from farming grapes and raising cattle and sheep and goats and alfalfa, and even the skateboarding scene was pretty weak because you weren't allowed to skate in Solvang, and that was the only cement except for your basketball court at the school. So we got into like BMX biking, and then it kind of graduated to the BMX gang turned into the garage band gang, eighth grade freshman year. And so we had quite a few local bands because we just grew up in a rural area and there wasn't much to do. And we're like, well, we wanted to emulate what we saw on TV and, Nirvana and Metallica and Guns N' Roses and all this stuff growing up. And then we got to high school and then we get NoFX and Sublime, and kind of the rest was history, That's how the Mad Caddies were formed. Yeah.
And the one thing I've always loved about the Mad Caddies is you guys take on so many different forms of genres of music as well. You can put on in my opinion, every single Mad Caddy album sounds phenomenal, but it sounds different as well. Like you could pick it up and it sounds almost like a brand new band, almost like a brand new album, each record, but every single one is so darn stellar.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, we always try to just push the envelope with every, album, with every new group of players. I mean, there's been like 35 people, literally. I wrote it all down last year. There's been 35 members of the Mad Caddy since its inception. But it all started in my parents' barn, and I'm still here, and I love it. And we got some guys back that have been in the band for, 20 something years, and it's one big family. And yeah, it's because of all of our different musical tastes. We're all fans of music. We weren't just like, oh, we just love ska, or we just love punk, or we just love rockabilly, or just love metal. It's like, I like all of it. So, and we've always liked all of it. So we've tried to incorporate a lot of sounds into our music over the years. And I think we've been successful, at least trying to make a new sound with every record while still keeping the spirit of the band, intact, at least. Got to throw a couple punk songs, got to throw a couple ska reggae songs, and then experiment and have some fun and see what comes out. That's kind of been the plan for the last, almost 30 years now.
And also as well, a few years after that, in 1996, you guys actually changed your name after signing to Honest Don's Records. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us the story behind the name change, and of course, how did you ultimately get discovered by Fat Mike of NoFX? Because it must have been such a surreal feeling for you guys, because just like you mentioned a few moments ago, when the band first started, that was one of your influences, like listening to NoFX and whatnot, and then ultimately, a few years after that, getting signed by Fat Mike's record label must have been kind of like a 360 moment for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we were just kids. I mean, I was in City College, so I was 1 year out of high school, but I left a year early, so technically it was my senior year, but I was a freshman at City College, and our drummer was still in, Todd was still in high school at the time, and we recorded a demo. We all borrowed a few $100s from our parents collectively and got a couple. I think it was like $1,500 together to go record this demo in Santa Barbara at Orange Whip Studios, and which turned out to be Quality Softcore, our first record. We thought we were recording a demo, and then Joey Cape from Lagwagon heard it, and he heard Fat Mike was looking for a ska band, and he phoned up Fat Mike, says, dude, I got the record, like it's in Santa Barbara, like literally like the day after we finished our demo. And we recorded Quality Softcore, if my memory serves me, I think in 3 days we made that record. And we thought it was a demo, and Joey phones up Mike, and then Mike calls Sasha, our guitar player, goes, hey, it's Fat Mike. And Sasha thought it was me fucking around with him. He's like, yeah, shut up, Chuck. And then he's like, no, it's Fat Mike from San Francisco. He's like, oh, it is Fat Mike. He recognized his voice. I want to sign you guys. I'm going to come down there. And we're like, cool. And like, that was history. It was like, we were 18 to 20 years old and got signed on Fat Records from our first demo tape, you know? And, it was pretty special. And then we were called the Ivy League at the time, and then they made us change the name. We came up with Mad Caddies because Ivy League was already taken, I guess, but the band never did anything. But I always liked Ivy League better. But anyway, we're the Mad Caddies, and that's how it happened. That's the story right there. I mean, we like made the demo, and Fat Mike called us 3 days later. You're like, what the fuck? Like, this is a dream. Bought us a van and like new amps and put us on tour, and the rest is history, you know.
And that actual first studio album that actually dropped May 13th of 97, honestly, is one of my absolute favorite records. My favorite track off that is actually The Bell Tower, man. If I had to choose a song, it would definitely be Bell Tower.
Hey, thank you, because that's the only song I like on that record still. That I love The Bell Tower. That's, you know, it was my first kind of spiritual song, and I really like that song.
Like, I mean, honestly, in my honest opinion, the record's absolutely stellar, but if I had a gun to my head and someone's like, you have to choose one, Bell Tower would actually be the one I'd be like, all right, it has to be Bell Tower. If I got to choose one, it's going to be Bell Tower.
It's funny. I forget his name, man, but the drummer of this band called the Smooths from Baltimore, we toured with like 20 years ago. He was the coolest dude. And we were playing together on this whole tour. This is like in 97, 98 or something. And they'd be like, hey, we got to go. He's like, yeah, I'll go, but after the Bell Tower. I was like, that's my man right there.
And also, as well, another stellar album that you guys actually dropped was actually August 11th of 1998, your sophomore album, second record, Duck and Cover. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a bit more about this amazing album. And of course, is it actually still out there to be streamed or purchased today? Because I do know, obviously, in 98 there was no streaming services. So has it since been uploaded to the internet to be streamed for the younger generation that's never had the opportunity to experience this stellar album?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Duck and Cover. It's on Spotify and Apple and everything. And like Fat just repressed a bunch of vinyl in the last year. We're kind of a mobile record store this year. It was really fun. We were selling a lot of vinyl on tour. I'm just so happy to see that people are excited to buy vinyl again. And then, of course, when you buy the vinyl, it comes with codes, so you get the songs digitally as well, which is great. But Duck and Cover's there digitally, of course. And that record, that was like, okay, Fat Mike signed us, now you got to do a second record, like right away, you know. So right after we got signed and Quality Softcore came out, we were right back in the studio the next year doing Duck and Cover. I mean, even like 6 months later, I think. And it was a lot of fun. And Fat Mike produced that one and, helped with tracks like Monkeys and Macho Nachos and some of the iconic tracks. And like I wrote Gentleman, like the lyrics to that song, like in songwriting class at City College. It was like about some girl from archaeology class. It was like, it was fun, man. But yeah, we still play a couple tunes off all the old albums on our tours, and we just rotate them in and out. But it's fun. People are like, play Macho Nachos. Like, okay, fuck, learn it next show. All right, no worries. But yeah.
And what was it like just being in the studio working with Fat Mike? Because obviously, you had the opportunity to be signed to his label, but just seeing him behind the board, just kind of producing this record, like, what was he like just working alongside of him as a producer for that particular project?
Well, he taught me a lot because I'm a producer now, and it's like, you know, and he taught me a lot because it's not about turning the knobs. I'm not an engineer and he's not an engineer. You know, you have your sound engineer, you know, he's turning the knobs. But a producer is like, play it a little faster. Try this part. Hey, how about we bring in a cowbell here, Christopher Walken? You know, more cowbell. You know, it's about, I don't know. It's more about the spirit of the album and the songs. And like Rick Rubin doesn't play an instrument, doesn't turn a knob, and he's the most famous producer in the world. It's about bringing your feeling to someone else's material, you know. And I loved working with Mike because he pushed me, man. And even at a young age, he's 10 years older than me, so I'm 45, he's 55. Our birthdays are a couple days apart, like by 10 years. And so I'm like, you know, 20 years old and he's 30 years old and we're working in the studio together and he's teaching me this dynamic. And, you know, a lot of times I'd be like, I don't like that idea, but it's just because it wasn't mine and you had too much ego. And you gotta have a producer break your ego, and so you can separate yourself and, you know, and be like, what's best for the song? It doesn't matter who came up with the idea. Does it make the song better? You know, and he taught me a lot about that. I really appreciate that. And because he'd have just cool like trombone lines that were like moving in different movements that I wouldn't think of, and you know. I wrote a lot of the horn lines, Sasha and I wrote a lot of the horn lines back in the day. And yeah, it's just, he really taught me a lot about just how to work in the studio and stay calm and, you know, be behind the scenes, but still have an effect if we're all on the same page, how to get a great product. So yeah, I appreciate it. And then we were still butting heads, you know, 25 years later on the reggae cover album because that was his idea. He wanted us to do it of all the punk songs, and we did the ska reggae cover, and we're like fighting over the Green Day and Descendants songs just like kids. So it's like nothing's changed. I love the good.
And it's definitely sad to hear as well that like that NoFX is actually kind of like hanging up a microphone after all these years, you know, like actually retiring and just venturing off into retirement. It's sad for a punk rock fan, but looking back at all the material, all the tours, everything Fat Mike and the rest of NoFX have done throughout the years, they definitely is a well-deserved retirement, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, and he said they're not retiring; they're just stopping to play live. He said they're still going to make records, so it's like, well, cool, right on. Just on tour, fine. They'll probably come back 10 years from now and make $1 billion or whatever. It's like
probably do what Blink did.
Never try. I don't trust Fat Mike, man. It's like the Kiss tour, that farewell tour went on for 15 years. Like, come on. I don't know.
And I think even Motley Crue, they retired once, and then 5 years later came back another tour, and now I think they're playing Ottawa Blues Fest now, and it's like, didn't you guys retire like 5 times?
Yeah, isn't Mick Mars dead? Come on, he's supposed to be dead.
I'm surprised he's not, though. That's the crazy thing with that spine syndrome he has. I don't know the exact definition or how to pronounce the name, but with that, like, you would think that, you know, I don't wish anything bad upon him. I'm glad to hear he's still alive, but with that condition he has, I would have thought he would have been gone a long time ago.
No, he's got a good spirit, man. I grew up, that was the first CD I ever bought, was Motley Crue, Dr. Feelgood, you know, skydiving naked from an aeroplane. First compact disc I ever got.
And also as well, in the year 1999, you actually started a side project called Sweet Action, where you actually ended up posting them on an old 90s mp3.com site. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a bit more about that side project, and of course, what actually made you decide to upload these to an MP3 site back in the 90s, because I do know a lot of bands were kind of, you know, against MP3s back in the day as well.
Well, that would have been our old guitar player, Carter Benson. So originally, we had 2 guitar players, Sasha and Carter. We all grew up in Solvang together in San Ynez Valley, and on stage, I was just a singer. I didn't hold a guitar. So back in the day, and then Carter quit the band in 2001, I think. Yeah. And then it just became Sasha and then I started playing guitar on stage after that. But he was like the computer guy. Like, he was way ahead of he knew about the internet before all of us. You know, he taught us how to use email and look up pictures of naked ladies and stuff and all that neat stuff when the internet came around in like 97, 98. And when he left the band, he was songwriter, but he didn't want to like do anything, but he wanted to record a record. So those were all his songs. Sweet Action songs were Carter Benson's. And he asked me to sing, and I think Sasha played bass, and then Derek from Lagwagon played drums, who's no longer with us. And it was Carter's kind of like get out his, like do his project type of thing. And now he's like the sandwich king of the valley. His family, they own like 6 sandwich shops, and he buys all the cool vintage gear he wants. He's doing fine. Yeah, that Sweet Action record was his, and it was cool. I wish people could hear it. Like, I've always wanted to like try to upload it onto iTunes or Spotify or whatever. And I used to carry around the master CDs. I had like 6 of them in my briefcase that I would carry around. Like, someday we have to upload this to the internet. But yeah, I think Carter must have done that because he was the internet whiz.
If I'm not mistaken, I think I was listening to it a few days ago actually on YouTube, and I don't know if it's the official release or if it's a full album or if it's just a few songs, but it was about a 40-minute long video, and it seemed like it was actually that particular record. So I'll definitely after the interview, I'll just shoot you the link via Instagram. That way you can kind of have a copy of it. That way you can like download it and kind of do whatever you like with it.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I'm still in contact with him. I'm sure he has masters. I'm like, dude, you gotta release it. Like, just make up your own record label, whatever. Just put it out.
And I mean, it's a stellar album too, man. It's killer. So I don't see why he wouldn't put it out. But maybe in due time, maybe he'll see this and realize, man, people are still talking about it over 20 years later. Maybe I should put it out.
That's the wildest question I've been asked in like 20 years. Like, so what's Sweet Action up to? I'm like, dude, really? Wow, you're taking deep here, bro.
That's what I tend to do, man, at the end of the day. But also, I'm a fan of the Mad Caddies as well. So, I mean, if you're a fan of something, you got to go a little further. I knew a lot about your band, but I was still like, as an interviewer, you got to do your research no matter what. No matter how much you know, you always got to dig and see if you can find something that you don't already know.
No, for sure. 100%.
And also, I remember actually one of these Sweet Action songs actually made it to the Happy Meals compilation series that was actually released on Joey Cape of Lagwagon's label, My Records. I was wondering, what was it like just working alongside Joey for this particular place? Because I do know, obviously, the drummer was of Lagwagon as well, but what was it like just working alongside Joey to actually get these songs on these particular compilation projects?
Well, we've known Joey, like, he's a good friend since 20 years. Like I said, he's the reason the Mad Caddies got signed. So it's like, I just look at him as a colleague and a friend, and yeah, whatever. Joey's a dick. He's a fucking grumpy motherfucker. He always loses his voice on tour. He drinks too much whiskey. What do you want me to say? No, I love you, Joey. But yeah, all those things are true. And the same could be said about me too. Just switch the whiskey for the vodka. So, No, Joey's great. He's a very creative guy, and I've always liked that he doesn't just settle on Lagwagon, and that he's always done Badass Neurot and other projects, and yeah, he's always inspired me to keep writing songs, and great songwriter. I love what sets Lagwagon apart is songwriting and just very melodic and orchestral, and it's cool. It's kind of like the Metallica of
Are you still there, Chuck? So I experienced a little technical difficulties here, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everyone is having a good night. I'm gonna refresh the page here quickly. All right, we will be right back. There we are. Can you hear me, Chuck?
Hello.
Oh, perfect. There we go. But, yeah, actually, just going into the next question, actually, July 9th of 2021, you actually released your 8-track solo studio album, titled All Out of Dreams. I was wondering what actually made you decide to actually release a solo project, and of course, are there actually any hard copies available of this particular record to be purchased today?
Hey, bro. Sorry I lost you, but I came right back in. I
Oh,
got
so
your
can you?
no. I got your question. I had to log off real quick because
Okay,
somebody called, but I got rid of it. But I heard your question. All Out of Dreams, Chuck Robertson and Friends, side project.
yeah.
That was purely from the pandemic. You know, the COVID lockdowns. We got our tours canceled. We were supposed to go to Australia. We were supposed to go flogging Molly and do a casino tour and St. Patrick's Day. It was going to be a good time. Um, and yeah, you know, the wheels came off the whole music industry for a better part of 2 years, and we got all this shit canceled. And so I just went into the woodshed, um, and I was fortunate enough to have a compound in the little village that I grew up in, that with some friends, with multi generations, and it was like my buddies that are a few years younger than me, and then their dads and uncles, and one of the Uncle Frank, bass player, has a cool studio, and then Uncle Rick had a drum set, and like I'm jamming with my buddies' dads, and they like recorded a record with me. We played for like a year, I don't know, like 8 months, and then made that record. But I had so much music to make and nothing to do, so it was just something to do. And we started doing shows in the yard and built a stage, and then we were up to like 150, 200 people a weekend on the outdoor shows during COVID, and it was like we could play legally because it's outside, and so fuck it. And it was awesome. It was kind of like coolest couple 2 years in a long time in a way. Like I'm broke, I got no money because we're not playing any shows, and I'm living off just like mailbox royalties, which is nothing. So it's like I can barely pay the bills, but at the same time, there's this weird freedom. It's like everything's shut down and it was all quiet. We were just like riding our freaking little mini motorcycles around town like we used to do when we were kids, and there's nobody. I don't know, but it was a time. So yeah, I made actually 2 records. So I have 2 Chuck Robertson and Friends records. One's still not out yet. It's already completely finished. I just haven't got around to putting it out. But yeah, I made Chuck Robertson and Friends vinyl. You can get the vinyl. I don't know. I might have sold them all, or there might be some more. I don't know. I printed like 400 of them, and I shipped 200 out during the what was it that we did? Not GoFundMe, but the Kickstarter, to do that record. And we shipped like I got a couple hundred supporters. It was awesome. Anybody who supported me, Chuck Robertson and Friends, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And because you helped make vinyl and T-shirts, and we like printed vinyl and T-shirts, so it was really cool. And yeah, so that was
And
like
also,
my COVID record, and got another one that's like a little more rock and ska after that, ready to come out, just waiting for the right time.
and during the pandemic, it was such a weird time. Like you said, like you couldn't perform. But I will actually say the one thing that I enjoyed as a music fan during COVID was the fact that like there was so much amazing music coming out. You really did not know what to listen to because every band had a new album at this point. Like every artist had music coming out. But then I even heard there was some individuals that I spoke with even during the pandemic. They actually lost a lot of their inspiration because they really didn't have anything to write about. Did you ever? Obviously, you wrote not one but 2 records during this time. But did you ever find yourself at a writer's block, being like, man, there's really nothing to write about. Like I'm depressed. I'm locked in my house. Or was it just like was the words just flowing for you?
No, it was 100% the opposite. It's because like I was when COVID hit. Let's see, yeah, when COVID hit, I'm still only fucking 2 years out of my divorce with a young son, and lost my wife. Not lost her, but she left me. And so, and then I went through like, let's see, by COVID, yeah, I'm on my second girlfriend after the divorce, 2 long-term, like 2 years after that, and like 2 years. So I had so much to write about. I was just like, blah, 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 blah. I had emotion just spilling out of me. Got COVID. I'm a single dad. I got a girlfriend, writing songs about new love, broken hearts, everything. So I had a lot to say. It was a very creative time, and yeah, wrote hundreds of songs over a couple of years, and they just kept flowing. And it was for the first time in my life ever. During COVID, we would go to rehearsal every day like it was a job. I'd never done that. It was more like, hey, you guys want to jam and like, you know, or whatever. But no, every day I'd be waiting, like tipping my, you know, clock at 3 o'clock, waiting for my buddies to get off work. And they worked construction and heavy equipment, and that didn't shut down in COVID. And so then we would just jam at like happy hour, like 3 to 4, and then till like 6 or 7. We would play like 3 hours every night, like 5 nights a week. And we did that for like 6 months, and we got so tight. And I was like, dude, we're the band. We're the COVID band, you know. Chuck Robertson friends. All right, guys. But it felt so good because I had nothing to do. So it was like, well, at least go to work in the music mines, you know, go make songs every day. And we would come up with at least 3 or 4 new jams every week in those 3 hours. And it would, like, someone would play a riff or something, and it was really collaborative and really fun, and the lyrics were just flowing. So, yeah, it was really cool. It was a very unique time, to say the least, you know. I'm not happy it happened, the whole thing, to everybody, but at least I tried to make the best of it.
And also, as well, next year in 2000.
Sorry to interrupt. I was just lucky because I was in.
Oh, it's all good.
Where we could do it outside, and like, you know, yeah, no one really cared about masks or whatever. So.
And also, as well, Chuck, next year in 2024, Mad Caddies will be releasing a brand new album titled Arrows Room 117. I was wondering, can you tell us a bit more about what the listeners can expect from this up-and-coming album? Because I do know Palm Trees and Pines actually just released a mere 4 days ago, and is an absolutely stellar song. So I can only imagine what this entire album is going to be like come 2024.
Yeah, really proud of the new record, Arrows, Room 117. Yeah, it's like the cover and the title kind of represents my son and I's separation, because my ex-wife moved my son up north. I'll be up there soon, but kind of like the era going through the state of California on the journey I have to make every, like, you know, 4 to 6 to 8 weeks to go see him, depending on my touring schedule. And I'm really close with my son, but it's been really hard the last couple of years. So I always stay in room 117 at the Foothills Motel on the way to see my son when I go up for the weekend or the week. And this is kind of like, you know, hoping to closure on that, because hopefully I'll be up there in a couple of months. And everything's cool. And but yeah, so this record's, it's like very personal. There's a couple country songs, there's ska songs, there's reggae, there's some like cool, like kind of, there's one like I call medieval rock song. So kind of feels very like, I don't know, 1600s, if that makes any sense. But yeah, we had a lot of fun making the record down in Orange County this spring. We worked really hard on it. We were down there for like on and off for like 2 months between tours, and worked with a really, really good producer, Israel. He was amazing, and he played some piano, and we had access to a Steinway, so that's always nice. Yeah, it was a really cool experience. I think everybody's going to be stoked on it. But overall, it's like a really good time. The album, it's a Mad Caddies record. The horns are great. I'm so stoked on Stefan and Jason. They did such a good job. Yeah, I was really, really, really proud of everybody. Brandon killed it on guitar. Sean Sellers on drums. John Ghazi on bass. Whoop, whoop.
And I gotta say, this brand new song that you guys dropped just a mere 4 days ago honestly has been getting so much amazing feedback here on the radio station. Shout out to Earshot Media for actually sending us this, sending our radio station this song, and of course coordinating this interview. But ever since I placed this song in rotation, we've been getting multiple requests to keep spinning it. So of course, dude, obviously I've been giving the listeners what they want.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much. That's really, really good. Great news. I just tried to write a fun song, you know. It's like had the country intention where it's just a chorus that will like just kind of stick in your head and be fun to sing, and it's like something everybody can relate to, you know. It's like, yeah, I don't know. Well, thanks for playing it. I really appreciate it.
Hey, you're most certainly welcome, Chuck. Honestly, if the Mad Caddies keep making it, we here at 99.9 FM are going to keep spinning it.
Fuck yeah. Thanks, dude.
But also, just announced an hour ago on the Mad Caddies official Facebook page, you guys will be taking the stage in Ottawa, Ontario at the Overflow Brewing Company March 9th, 2024, alongside K-Man and the 45s. I was wondering, what can our listeners actually expect from this up-and-coming show? And of course, when will the tickets actually be available? Because I had the opportunity to see the Mad Caddies live, I believe it was last year sometime in Ottawa, and honestly, you guys put on one hell of a kick-ass show. So I do know if people have never experienced this live performance, they're going to be absolutely blown away. And there'll be a changed man or woman leaving the venue that night come March 9th, 2024.
Yeah, you know, I don't know the specifics of when tickets go on sale, but I can tell you it's going to be a fun show because you know, we don't like to leave the stage. You know, if people are still having a good time, we'll keep playing. And we've been spreading the love all over the world since we last saw Canada last February. And we're like, fuck it, we got a new record. We're coming back. And we'll have our new record out hopefully, yeah, I think first or second week of January. And so we'll be playing new songs, but of course, all the old and middle and late favorites. We do the Mom and Dad rock block. We've added a fifth song now. The good news, if you're a super fan and you're listening, good news, we brought Monkeys back into the set. We got too many death threats that if we didn't play Monkeys, people were going to kill us. Mostly, you know, suburban moms. But we said, okay, we'll fucking play Monkeys, you know. And our trumpet player agreed. He's like, I already told you I'd do it, dude. I go, I know, but I was just sick of it for a while. But now it's fun again. So we've added a fifth song to the Mom and Dad rock block, and we might even add a sixth song. But we do, in the middle of the set, we do a rock block for the Mom and Dads, and we play like 5-6 songs in a row without stopping. And all the songs have to be 20 years or older. So that's a fun part of the set. That's actually my favorite.
And I got to say as well, definitely good choice, Chuck, on accommodating those suburban moms, man. Because honestly, some of them can just be super crazy, man. You won't even realize it, but they'll pounce at you like a cheetah.
No, seriously, they'll smash me with a wine bottle or something if we don't play Monkeys, you know. Gotta watch out.
And even if it's that great, even if it's the expensive wine, they won't even care, man. If it's a cheap, dirty wine that you can get from the LCBO for like $10 a bottle, or if it's that like $150 bottle, they don't care. They'll pelt you with it.
No, and it was worldwide. It's not just U.S. or Canada, man. We were getting these threats in Belgium, Germany, everywhere. You better play Monkeys, motherfuckers. It's like, okay, we'll play Monkeys. And then you play it and everybody's happy. And then you're like, right, you bought a ticket. You expect to see a show. Give them the fucking show, man. Come on. Don't be a Grinch. Don't not play the fun song. Come on.
But also as well, aside from this amazing album that's coming out, as you said, in January next year, and of course, a show coming up in Ottawa, and I'm assuming, obviously, many other shows are soon to be announced as well. What is next for yourself, Chuck Robinson, of course, the rest of the Mad Caddies? Like, is there anything we happen to miss during this evening's interview that you do still want to talk about, touch on, or promote? What was got you here live on Punk World Radio FM this evening?
Yeah, I mean, we're just super stoked to kind of be the new revival of the Mad Caddies. I mean, started this band in 1995 when I was a kid in my parents' barn, you know, and still to be here almost 30 years later now. I mean, it's incredible. And the amount of love that we receive and spread when we play, you know, because we just spread peace, love, and respect. And, you know, we're here to have a dance party and to forget about everything and, you know, keep it light. And, it's a wonderful thing to still be doing, and I'm so blessed. And you know, much love up to Canada, and yeah, we're happy. The band, the lineup now, we're just all getting along really good, and it's super fun to play, and everybody's having a good time. So we're got a new record out. We'll be touring probably for next year on it, and working on a new one. And we got enough songs to do like 2 or 3 more. So we're just kind of looking at the next couple of years as like, let's go for it and have some fun. And yeah, and some of the new songs on the record, like they're a lot more accessible to, you know, to regular people, you know, as opposed to being like some hardcore punk ska record. It's very accessible. So I'm excited for people to hear the new music mostly, because yeah, it's not about money or fame or any of that. I just want people to like my music. It's like, that's all. It makes me happy when people sing my songs. It's like, that's enough, you know? It's like, that's enough. It's a beautiful feeling. It's an equitable exchange. It's wonderful.
And obviously, you know, we know how to follow the band, the Mad Caddies, across all social media platforms. But if individuals don't already have you on their social media, how do they go about following Chuck Robertson so they can stay updated, not on just the Mad Caddies, but of course, you know, this sophomore solo album that you actually have coming up as well in the future?
Yeah, well, like I have an Instagram for Chuck Robertson and Friends, but I haven't been in there in a while. But you can follow me at Chuck Robertson Papa. Like, my Instagram's open, and it's just me and my kid, and you know, just like what I do. But you can see pictures of me on tour and stuff, and I usually link some Mad Caddies videos there and stuff. So that's Chuck Robertson Papa, and yeah, and Chuck Robertson and Friends. When we put out the new record, I'll get back on there, but there's like nothing to do on there right now. I'm like, you know, I put out the record and like, I don't know, a couple thousand people listened to it. I'm like, hey, thanks guys. And I sold a couple hundred records. I'm like, yay, I did it. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think as people, because I spread those records around the world, you know, selling them at Mad Caddy shows, people will be more interested in like, kind of grow organically, and they'll tell their friends about Chuck Robertson and Friends All Out of Dreams, because you can listen to it on Spotify and Apple Music and everywhere you listen to your music. And yeah, Chuck Robertson and Friends All Out of Dreams. It's a really fun record. It's like a mellow barbecue, beachy, kind of surfy country record. It's fun. It's my COVID record.
But I gotta say, first and foremost, Chuck, thank you so much for giving not only myself but the radio station airways a bit of your time, man. And also thank you for years of amazing music, man. I literally grew up on the Mad Caddies, had a chance to listen to them nonstop, man, and I'm still a fan today. So just thank you for making music that not only myself, but many other individuals had the opportunity to listen to and endure for so many years, man. So thank you so much, and I'm definitely looking forward to the brand new Mad Caddies album that's dropping fresh out in the new year. It's definitely going to be an amazing record, I can already tell.
Dude, thank you so much for having me, and thanks for spinning the single. It's really cool, man. I appreciate it. It's exciting. Good sign of things to come, I hope.
Hey, most definitely. And when I run my radio station, if it gets great reception, I leave it in rotation as well. So I can definitely tell you it's not going anywhere and leaving our radio station airwaves anytime soon. So definitely catch the single, but most of all, stream it as well.
That's awesome, dude. Thank you, brother.
Hey, you're most certainly welcome, Chuck. Thank you so much again, and definitely have yourself a phenomenal night.
Okay, bro. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Peace and love, man.